Our state has some incredible problems. My name is Lynn, Hinderaker. I'm here to talk about that with you and talk about the trends that have shaped this state and dragged us in one direction or another. We're not really we're not realizing the dream we had way back in the early 2000s or even around 2008 or 9 or 10. My name is Lynn Hinderaker. Welcome to WowBiz Nebraska. We're going to get it on right now. Where does $234 million actually go? Where's it sitting right now, and how is it going to be used when it comes to North Omaha and South Omaha? Stick with us right now. My name is Lynn Hinderaker with WowBiz Nebraska, and we can fill you in, at least let you know how the process where we'll get that solution is going to unfold. It's a very exciting opportunity. It's finally coming together a little bit, but some very wise people said, let's find out exactly what the people that live in both North and South Omaha, and those are large communities, very diverse in both cases, what they're really envisioning, what they're expecting, what they'd like to see, what they're telling their family and their children, how it's going to be here someday. Stay here and just wait and see how all this money is being used creatively and strategically and appropriately so they can attract other companies and other people from outside the neighborhood into those two neighborhoods. It's very exciting. I'm going to show you a couple pieces of material right now that would indicate and explain how I personally will be involved with this process right off the bat. We've got a flyer here, and the headline of the flyer, as you'll quickly see, is Introducing a New Future. Now, it's a little misleading because we don't really know what the future is going to be. In fact, we're not there to tell anybody anything. These groups that I'm alluding to in both North and South Omaha are listening groups, essentially. We call them focus groups. Same thing. We're going to throw out some topics, whether it's money, violence, poverty, business, whatever it is, and see what the people who attend these meetings, and believe me, they have their opinions, and they feel them emotionally. They've been waiting a long time for this kind of offering, shall we say. But of course, there's a lot of foundations out there and nonprofits. They received significant amounts of funds as well. That was kind of a disappointment to Senator Justin Wayne and so on, but that's how we're sitting at this point. So they are also wondering, how do we use this money correctly and appropriately? So you've seen that the header right now in the little flyer I just showed you, it said Introducing a New Future, and that is in fact the direction that we are going. But let me just also show you another flyer right here, and at the very top are a couple different words or phrases: transformation and change, foundational change. Now you just think for just a minute, what does that really mean, transformation and fundamental change? Well, that's exciting, but it's also kind of frightening because it implies something that has never been done, something that you've never seen. So how do you orchestrate and choreograph all the elements, the money, the places, the construction, the supervisors, the designers, all the stewards, shall we say, of the project? How do you know that they are all on the same page and getting stuff done as we would expect it to be done? That's why these events, we're talking about 20 groups, 20 small events in North Omaha and 20 in South Omaha, all on behalf of the Nebraska Department of Economic Development, who are trusting us, but also watching carefully to see if we're handling those funds correctly and listening intently as to what people really, really want. It's very exciting. Please tune in down the road, and we'll be happy to explain to you what's happening, what we're learning, and so on. It's an exciting moment in Omaha, Nebraska, and in Nebraska in general. So very, very exciting to share that with you for the first time today. All right. Moving back into business transformation right now and how people are behaving in the office or at their home or in their jobs. And some of us, 47% of people are thinking about some other job that they hope they can get instead of the job they have in front of them. So it's a very interesting thing. So you go to the boss, right? Regardless of what the situation, you go to the boss and say, what are we really doing? How are we doing? And where are we going, boss? What should we be, looking for? And how can we modify what we're doing and so on to be appropriate? Well, anyway, there are two kinds of people. I'm going to simplify this now. And I'm thinking about all the workers around you, all your coworkers, and particularly the boss, the group of supervisors and managers. Two kinds of people. And of course, we've got metaphors. You all know I like using metaphors and symbols. It seems to cut through, all of the confusion and so on. And so here we are. Let's say, for instance, you talk to what I would call a typical boss, maybe a senior level manager and so on. Right now, that person is going to either operate very much like this tape measure operates. Now, we've all seen these before, of course, this bright yellow tape right here. And you can see that it's got little inch marks and half-inch marks and so on. And these are all representative of increments, right? Increments of work being accomplished, benchmarks, goals, all of these things in a very, very linear fashion. That's what you see here is a straight tape measure, and it's very, very linear. And so the typical boss would say, well, we're right down here somewhere, and we got to do this and this and this and this and many, many, many things right all the way up here and get all the way up to here. We just got to go this way and knock all the business down into something you can handle and understand and just kind of increment it, crunch it out, get the job done, right? This would be a normal response to that question. We see it all the time, but it's not the most effective, by the way. And so that takes us over here to this beautiful plant right here, and specifically this interesting little, I'll call it a flower or plant. Now take a look at it closely, and what you'll see right there are, of course, dozens and dozens of tiny little leaves. Now I want you to pretend that each one of these teeny-weeny little green leaves on the plant are an idea, a concept, a principle, an abstract notion. I'm going to sum it all up and say every one of these things right here is a possibility in your company. Now, if you had this out and you were talking to the manager, he would not or she would not agree with that, wouldn't get it, wouldn't understand it. But eventually, maybe every quarter, the boss is saying, how you guys come up with some ideas. I need everybody to come up with some ideas here. We need to really kick it up. The CEO wants us to do more creative stuff, and I don't know what we're doing, but everybody come up with some ideas, okay? And present them to me at the end of the weekend, okay? Thanks. All right? So now everybody is thinking along these lines. It's not linear anymore. In fact, they're wondering, maybe if I did a thing here and then this thing right here, I see how this trend over here speaks to workers who are under 45, and we have a product over here that would kind of relate to what they're doing, probably they would like, and then we could subcontract somebody over here and they could go out and do the work necessary to serve those people without us getting too far off track. You see what I'm saying? This is how at least half of all the people in America think. And by the way, our school system wishes there were more people that thought like this than like this, all right? When you call up a teacher or principal, somebody, and say, how come my kid isn't a little more creative? She or he will say, we don't know how to teach creativity. We don't have the time to learn or fit it into the overall agenda. But when you talk to the national businesses and so on, the chambers of commerce, board of directors, here's what they say. We need more creative people. We need more people that are original thinkers, right? And so one of the interesting things about that is that when you have an original thinker or a creative thinker, you often will end up noticing that they procrastinate a lot. That's just how they are. They have a lot of anxiety. They start out and they say, no, that's terrible. I wonder about this and what about that? And I read this book and I've got to take this. I'm going to put it over here in this stack right here, and then I'll get back to it, right? And so they have all these sources of creativity and excitement, really. They're very excited, and they're putting it everywhere, and some they can't even get enough of these ideas. They got so many of them, they don't know how to sort through them. And so then boss sends everybody, says, hey, we'd like to get those ideas back from you in a week or so, kind of package them up a little bit or something, get them to me. Now there's enormous anxiety, right? So they're back to all these choices and all these options, and that's when, as long as they haven't gone too far and they're actually frozen in fear, but it's okay for them to be nervous and a little anxious and they're worrying and it's time to kick it up and how about this, how about that, I think this will be okay. Oh my God, I got this. Hey, couldn't we do this? What I got here, wouldn't this, I can't wait to get this to the boss, right? That's how it goes. And that's how creativity explodes on the scene, and that's why companies, certain companies are known and respected. What about Warby Parker, one of the manufacturer of glasses? I'm sure you know about them. They have been voted the most innovative, creative company in the world. Warby Parker, right? Selling glasses online. Working again and again how to make it a good experience and how to do it exactly, because there are others. Certainly have other people that sell glasses online. In fact, they were way ahead of them. So they had to kind of catch up and have a new hook, a new angle, a new way to come at it, a new way to understand the human being's face and the whole process of finding and sorting out and individualizing and self-image and all that stuff. And as a result of that, Warby Parker is now the #1 innovation company in the world. All right, so you get the point, I think, that we have two different kinds of thinkers, and you got to be very, very careful about going too far in one direction or too far in the other direction. It's a very exciting topic, and thank you for watching our show today, WowBiz Nebraska. My name is Lynn Hinderaker. We've been on now with 116 shows or so. People are starting to believe that we're serious about it. In fact, at the back end of the show, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about North Platte, Nebraska. We serve the entire economic development spectrum, and they've passed along some fascinating insights and lots of activity going on in North Platte, Nebraska. I'll tell you about that. But now, this particular show is brought to you by Nebraska. I'm going to say that one more time. Nebraska, N-E-W-B-R-A-S-K-A, Nebraska. Some people say Nebraska Partners, Nebraska Network. But the new is the important thing. That's a very interesting word, or part of a word. And when these guys, they're consultants and they're trainers, they're designers, they're media people, they're psychotherapists. They provide a lot of insight in a one-on-one coaching kind of a situation. They're very, very bright folks with some spectacular national experience behind them. I won't go into that too much, but I just came across one of their flyers, and I'm going to read it to you. The headline of the flyer. You might want to know now about Nebraska.com. Fascinating company, has done a lot of things already, but here's the headline of their handout, a flyer. It's called 6 Reasons Why You May Want to Talk with Nebraska. Kind of a low-key headline, not too pushy. You may want to talk with Nebraska. That seems kind of confident, super confident. So I'm going to tell you, here are the 6 points, 6 reasons why. You might want to write this down, make a note of it or whatever. 6 reasons why you may want to chat with somebody from Nebraska. Number one, Nebraska's partners are experienced innovators. Trust them to help you launch new products. Now, a lot of business owners are very reluctant to launch a new product. They don't know how to do it. They've got other things they got to work on, so on and so forth. But I have to tell you, I just heard recently that if you are an innovator in an innovative company, you're going to generate 12% more in sales than your competitors in your industry. 12% more. All right, we'll move on to the second one. The founder of Nebraska co-created Taco Bell's value menu, generating $1 billion incremental sales dollars. Way back, I believe, in the late 80s, early 90s is when this would have happened. That's a big deal, value menu. Number 3, Nebraska supports businesses as well as municipalities. Now this intrigues me, both which accelerates growth. In other words, they're implying that the business community and the civic community work together much more fluidly and much more intensely, I guess. Number 4, unlike other consultants, Nebraska is hands-on. They research, they write, they design, they produce, and they train. I also know that they lead groups, task forces, quality groups, groups inside the building or inside the corporation that enable people to kind of come together, share ideas, walk out of there energized. Very exciting. Continuing, number 5. This is 5 of 6. These are the 6 things. And, it's hard to do this when you have a company and all these different activities and people and programs and features and products and services, to just nail it down to 6 reasons why you might want to chat, right? You might want to chat. So we're in number 5 right now. Nebraska's founder can bolster awareness of your firm cost effectively. Now, they have a product that they called Trust TV, by the way, and it's a very interesting product, an easy product. It's simply an interview on camera, and that enables you to achieve some degree of awareness that nobody would have even known that you thought that or said that or believed this or believed that. Your values are different. I had no idea that you had that behind you, right? These are the kinds of things that happen with these kinds of projects in this kind of company. And then finally, and very importantly, by the way, I talk a lot about population issues here in Nebraska, and if we can't increase population, primarily with young folks, we are going to have a problem, as we currently do, with taxes. That's why you hear about tax reform constantly. People are moving money around trying to figure out, how do we get through this situation? We need more people, make more money, and pay more taxes so we don't have to struggle so much with our taxes, and we need a population. So it says Nebraska has experience and can help clog brain drain with workforce solutions based on exclusive data. Now, I don't know about this, but I think this is very interesting. Do they really have exclusive data? Why doesn't the Nebraska Department of Economic Development have this data? Why not all the mayors and the chambers? Why don't they have this data? And what is about it that is so exciting and helpful? Well, probably should have to call somebody at Nebraska and find that out. But that's a very intriguing question right there about data and its impact on the future of this state. All right. Thank you, WowBiz Nebraska, doing a great job. Thank you, Nebraska, for doing a wonderful job with us and supporting this particular show. Great. Excellent. Okay. Now, at the back half of the show, I'm going to talk to you about weakness, right? And our weaknesses. We all know we have them. And it's kind of important to not linger on them. But on the other hand, it is important to be able to know what your strengths and weaknesses are. And if you have a weakness, how does it impact your performance at the office, at work, or really even with your family, right? Or maybe a hobby and so on. It's very important when you as you grow up and you mature and you evolve and you're meeting with a lot of different people, and some meetings go well, some meetings don't go so well. And you go back to your car and you're going to drive back home or whatever, and you're saying to yourself, what did I do? What did I say? I didn't seem to handle that correctly. I must have some kind of a weakness. A psychotherapist I talked to once a while back said, Lynn, he says, I don't call myself a psychotherapist anymore. I call myself a life coach, an executive life coach. I said, he said, it's the same thing, really. It's really the same thing. He said, the key thing is this. What happens to most of us is we have some issue when we're young. With our families, we're a kid, could be 3, 5, 8, 10 years of age, and we get told something or something happens in our life, and it really, maybe we get cussed out. Maybe we're told that we're doing something really bad. So then as a result of that, we may feel guilty, have some guilt in our life. And we carry that around into college and into your job and so on, and you're still thinking to yourself, man, I feel so bad about who I was and who I am now, you see. And so now it comes down to somebody's going to pick a junior level executive, or somebody's going to get a promotion or whatever. And that person who is struggling with guilt somehow projects that, somehow projects that guilt, and it precedes him or her, and people don't really understand it. They can't put a handle on it, but somehow Harry just doesn't seem, he's just not that happy with himself, and so other people aren't happy with him either. I don't know, by the way, that any of that has happened, but I will tell you that's a common pattern. It's a common pattern. So those kinds of neuroses that occur when we are very young, they stick with us our entire life. We can't purge them. We don't know how to get rid of them, right? And so that ends up creating a sense of weakness. Sometimes we overcompensate, right? We don't think much of ourselves when it comes to this or that. I'm sorry, I'm just no good. Or when you're around a bunch of guys you compete with, you overcompensate to try to show them that I can do this, right? And as a result of that, sometimes you'll put people off or say something that might be out of context or inappropriate. Now, I'm using these weeds. In the back of my yard, I've got a large yard and a garden that goes around the entire yard fence. And so I don't have the time to go out there and really take care of this garden very well. And so there are weeds that do grow up, right? And I'm going to show you right now. And my encouragement is this. Find out, here they are, see? You got to pull them out by their roots. You got to pull them out of your psyche. I'm trying to say this in a way that people understand. You got to pull these out of your psyche and get rid of them. Lose them, drop them, forget about them, put them away, and move on, you see. And you'll quickly become another person. But first you have to identify those weaknesses, and pull them out. Could be selfishness, right? Which is an overcompensation for not having everything that you wanted. You were poor when you were young, so now you grab everything you can, right? And people go, you don't want to hang out with that guy. He's always grabbing the best seat, and he's got the best. All right, so here we go, right? More of these ugly roots, right, with these plants. What a great symbol. What a great symbol of what's inside of us that can be easily eliminated and need to be eliminated so you can be the person you want to be and you can do the things in your career that you want to do. All right, there we are. Went a little crazy on that. By the way, as we wrap up here, I just want to briefly say congratulations to Gary Person and the North Platte Development Organization. Approximately $2.3 billion in new projects are emerging or in the advanced planning stage currently right there in North Platte, Nebraska. Believe it or not, it's incredible. They've shattered every economic growth statistic for North Platte that was in the past. They've tripled the previous record. They've got companies like Sustainable Beef there in North Platte that have just penned a partnership agreement with Walmart, massive agreement, and creating, once that thing comes together with Walmart, it'll create 1,000 new jobs in North Platte. And by the way, when you have that kind of a thing with Sustainable Beef, you have all these businesses that grow up around that business, right? The pet food industry would be an example, frozen beef shipping, rendering, hide usage, even technical support. These are all the businesses that are born and emerge from this particular situation. Another thing that's happening right there in North Platte is a revitalization and redesign of the industrial rail park and collaboration with Union Pacific. That's going to create a $1.8 billion impact and create to 1,000 jobs right there in North Platte. So don't say that Nebraska isn't innovating. They are definitely innovating. They are cooking. They've also got an exclusive agreement with the White River Soy Processing, oil seed processing out there in North Platte. This is all coming out of the Chamber, North Platte Area Chamber, and the Development Corporation right there in North Platte. Wow, a lot of stuff going on. I can't get into it in detail. Thank you so much for watching us right here on WowBiz Nebraska. My name is Lynn Hinderaker. We always do exciting new things. We try to find symbols and metaphors for key ideas or processes. This is a time, a transitional time, that your business is going to either pull back, twiddle its thumbs, or move forward in a bold fashion. And I would suggest the latter. You would know that if you had watched our show often. By the way, please turn your friends and your neighbors on to WowBiz Nebraska. We've been around for over 5 years. This is, as I mentioned earlier, show number 117, if you will. And we'll be bringing more guests and other people onto the show as time goes on. Let us know if you have a company that needs to be heard and understood, can come on this show, and we'd love to chat with the boss. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. I'm WowBiz Nebraska. This is Lynn Hinderaker. Thank you.